This season of Nerdpool is powered by WiSP, with music from RedCocoa. Check the description for more information. Musician, game developer, 3D modeler, DJ, improv comedian, jazzpunk speedrunner, viral Geometry Dash YouTuber, and tall man. All of these terms have at one point been used to describe today's guest, but I'm also very privileged to call him my friend. Felix, it's so lovely to have you here. How have you been?
I have been very good. Right now we have like 33 degrees outside, which is slightly melting me. But other than that, it's fantastic. What can I say?
The weather is very hot. I don't think that I have slept properly in like a week.
Yeah, I think every time I move, I immediately regret it.
I'm pretty sure I slightly moved my arm last night and got woken up to like my arm touching my fiance's arm, and I was covered in sweat, but then she was like burning like a sun. So we both just woke up, looked at each other, and were like, get away from me.
Yeah, it is so hot. Like last night I woke up to the biggest thunderstorm I've ever seen. And in the morning, I was like, wow, look at that. We have gray clouds, which means it cooled off overnight. And it did, but it just cooled to the same temperature that was inside. So you can open the window and there's no airflow. There's no difference in temperature between the inside and outside. Right now, it's if I open the window, it's like an oven. So I'm not doing that. That would be stupid. I am very hot and sweaty, but I could be way more if I wanted.
There we go. We have the quote we were looking for this interview. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
The hot and sweaty episode. There you go.
Oh God. Yeah, sure. We'll call that. Fuck it.
Oh God.
But yeah. So anyway, speaking of the interview, as always, I do like to start it with just a very simple question to kind of ease us in. And that question, as always, is: what is your favorite game?
That is such a complicated question. That is such a small question with such a big answer. Right now, I guess Risk of Rain 2. The title has been held by many games. If we're talking about like games that I've played the longest and still regularly enjoy, right now it's actually Minecraft and Team Fortress. Again, I've started playing Team Fortress again. Turns out you can now join lobbies without getting aimbots sniped immediately again, which is a very welcome change. And then I went to the Team Fortress website and looked at the update page and got sad again. But yeah, the game itself is playable, which so this is where I plug my game, right?
Yes.
So, of course, another game I've really enjoyed playing is one that's still in the making, but that's fine because it's in the making by me. I'm making a game.
Wow. Oh, my God.
A real one. Like that will be on Steam, ideally, someday.
Tell us more, RedCocoa.
Yeah. So it's a game you play with your keyboard and mouse, or controller, if you prefer. And you have a character and you run around and you can wall jump. That's basically the extent of the game right now.
As someone who has worked on a game that is going on Steam, it is a serious undertaking. So like, it's still very cool that is what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm wildly underselling it as well because I'm trying to mix like the genres of deck building card roguelike game with platforming jump and run roguelike game. I think the main thing is roguelike, but yeah, I'm trying something.
I do have to ask, what does roguelike mean?
It's a game where certain aspects are randomly generated each run, and but you still have some overall progression. So if you think of any roguelike game, you will have like individual runs you do. And you can find items during that run that help you, for example, and when you die, you lose them, but there is some sort of progression. Maybe if you get to a certain stage, you unlock a new batch of items or a new character or something. So there's some meta progression, but the run itself is a closed, randomized loop.
What makes it like a rogue? Because when I think of rogue, I'm thinking of like Sneaky Stabby Man.
So there was a very old video game called Rogue.
Right.
And that experimented with.
That's how I played.
Yeah, that had randomly generated dungeons, and every roguelike is like Rogue.
That makes sense. Man, what an impact then that game had, because like You had Doom likes.
Yeah, it's basically like Souls like, yeah.
Yeah, Souls like. Yeah, oh yeah, no, yeah, because yeah, you still have Souls likes, but like, man, to come out. I was gonna look at it now when it came out in 1980. So to sort of have that hold on a genre for nearly 50 years, that still people just say, oh, it's like this game that came out nearly 50 years ago. Wow.
I mean, in a sense, I guess roguelike has become its own word in a sense. Like you say, I'm gonna Google that, even though you ideally don't use Google. So
yeah, or you're gonna Skype someone even though you can't. You cannot do that anymore.
Or you say Microsoft Teams is a piece of shit, even though I don't know what kind of point I was.
That was a fact.
Yeah, that's just what you say when you see Microsoft Teams or don't see Microsoft Teams. I say that every day.
I really want to go on the tangent, and we could just genuinely like make a whole ass of the show about like I have such a burning hatred for Teams that I would love to just dedicate the entire episode to that. But that
is natural, yeah.
That wouldn't be interesting.
It is natural for a podcaster to make an episode where they just shit on Microsoft Teams for 2 hours.
Sure, yeah, I'll put that in the plan. I'll put that in the sheet. We'll get there. Oh, we've got so many topics. The hot and sweaty episode, the Microsoft Teams episode.
Yeah, it's writing itself. We have three seasons.
But can we do a choose your own adventure podcast?
I mean, yeah,
of course we can.
It's called D&D.
But yeah, looping back to you making a game. For as long as I've known you to do a lot of things. In fact, I listed pretty much all of them at the start. Maybe all of them. There might be more. You appear at protests when people least expect it, but we'll get to that maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm known for.
In that sort of line of thought, you compose music, you participate in game jams, you used to do Twitch live streaming, YouTube video editing, you do modeling in Blender, speedrunning, live improv, DJing, so many incredible different creative avenues. What is the most valuable lesson that you've picked up from doing all of that?
Okay, first of all, I have to just comment on the intro because I love that you specifically said jazz punk.
Yeah,
I'm not really actively speedrunning right now, but I have done it for like, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years, and maybe, I don't know, 2 or 3 months of that was jazz punk. And I'm very happy that is the game that, he's a jazz punk speedrunner. I
was half tempted to just generalize it to speedrunner because the speedrunning I know you for is Mario 64 more than anything. But I also know that you actually made it like quite high onto the leaderboard for jazz punk speedrunning, I think, at one point.
I mean, I think I was in like 12th place.
That's pretty good.
Which sounds impressive. But then you see there's like 30 places overall.
That's the top 50%.
That is the top 50%. That's almost the top 30%. So
that's pretty good.
Not to no. It's also a fun speedrun. The question was what I learned. I never learned. No, that's not true. I think to answer truthfully, one of the most important lessons in any creational, I don't know if that's the correct word, whenever you want to create something, I think it's very powerful to know that you can do it. It might take a bit of time. You won't be good immediately, but you can get good at it if you have the resources. And resources can just be time or like dedication, money, whatever. The resources vary. The resources differ, but if you're willing to spend them, you can just do stuff. I think that's pretty cool because, for example, with music, I was inspired by so many people when I started making music and was always like, wow, it would be so cool if I could make music like that. But I cannot make music like that. And then that kind of happened over the course of many years. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, wow, I really enjoy listening to the stuff I make, but I could never play it live. And now I've just, this is where I plug my second thing, right? This is
yeah, go for it.
But then I recently released a song where I played most of the instruments live. So you can just learn shit. You can just look at something you think is cool and if you have to be willing to invest a lot of time, but you can just get good at stuff.
Yeah, no, that is, to be honest, I'm really glad you said that, because that is probably, I think, the number one lesson as well that people who are starting out doing something really need to hear, or really need to at least like try and comprehend. Because, like, speaking from my own experience as a video editor, starting off, I was shit, as most people are when they start off doing something.
Yeah, that's the default. Yeah.
In fact, funnily enough, it was when I first met you, you were still actively making YouTube videos of various different things.
Right, yeah.
And sometimes you make like a Twitch highlight video and I would watch it and I was like, oh, that was really cool. I really want to be able to do that. So I would try, and lo and behold, maybe not instantly, but a few months later or something, I would actually be able to do that. And I could look back on it and be like, I did that now.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I mean, because like at the point in time, you work at your like skill level, obviously. So when I made those videos for to stay on the example, I wasn't like necessarily the pushing myself in the most creative ways. It was just like I was sitting there and I was like, it would be really funny if I did a zoom here, and I know how to do a zoom, so let's just do a zoom. Like if I at the point knew how to, I don't know, track objects or keyframe stuff, I would have done that, but I just didn't know how to do that, so I didn't. And that's the thing. Like, I would say that music is still the thing where I'm like most, like, I have the most experience, I guess. Yeah, as you said at the beginning, of course I was complete shit. I didn't know how my program worked. I didn't know what like any button did. That, like, obviously that's where you start out. And I was listening to like different artists and different songs, and I was like, wow, that like that small effect or that instrument or whatever, that is so pretty. How would you ever do that? And then it has happened a few times that I've listened to stuff I made, and I actively catch myself saying, if when I started out, this is exactly the kind of stuff I wanted to be able to make someday. I don't know. I think that is like one of the biggest motivations you can get to like actively see something you made and see that, yeah, you are now better than you were like a month ago, a year ago. And let's see where we are in 1 year, I guess. So let's see where I am in 1 year.
I don't think I've been following you since the start of your endeavor into music, but I relative to time,
you've seen most of it, yeah.
Yeah, I've been there for the majority of it now. And it's been great every single year. Like towards the end of the year, you'll release something and I'll be like, man, that is the best thing you've done. And then the following year, I get to say that again every single time. It's such a cool thing to just watch people get better by doing things. Then, yeah, one of the other cool things has been like just discovering, like I remember you telling me, this would be like maybe 2-3 years ago. I won't say, I'm not very good with time, but you just told me like, oh, I've just started an improv class, and I believe you still do it.
Yeah.
Presumably, again, that, like, in fact, improv has got to be one of the scariest things to me, and I assume that is like the one where you go in and you start and you instantly feel like, man, I am so out of my element here, and it really takes the time to build up an improv.
Oh yeah, definitely. By now I've become like really naturally funny and handsome, but in the beginning it was like incredibly like terrifying. I remember the first time I went to practice and they were like, oh, you're new. Just so you know, no one here takes themselves seriously. Just try it. That was the scariest moment, like creatively, I have ever experienced. That was so terrifying. You have like 10 people looking at you like, oh, he was never here. Let's make sure he knows we're all friendly and will not like kick him to death if he like isn't funny. But everyone's obviously still looking at you. Everyone's like, yeah, well, we've been here for like half a year. Let's see what you're up to. And it was terrible. Like looking back. And again, I think that's a positive thing. I think if you can look back at your old stuff and see flaws, that means that you now see flaws that you didn't see before. And ideally, you also know how to fix them. And that is why I regard my first improv experience as very positive, because it was, from my perspective today, I can say it was terrible. I've done several things that I would never do now. And I think right now people sometimes laugh. So I've definitely improved there. So yeah, it's the same as with basically any other creative like area. You can look back and see improvement, which feels good because you know the like as long as you are aware that the point you're at right now is not the best version of yourself, it's fine as long as you are better than the previous version of yourself.
Well, I was going to say on that note, I assume then, because like you said, that was one of the most scary moments, creatively speaking, of your life, that you fortunately don't look back on that with regret.
No, absolutely not. I think like for my self-worth and like self-consciousness in a positive way, that was the best decision I've ever made. Because I think a big part of why I was so scared the first time was I was very self-conscious and I was like, what if they hate what I'm saying? And I think it took a few practice like lessons and a few getting in front of people and seeing that even if a joke doesn't land, that doesn't automatically mean you are like terrible and they will never laugh at anything you say again. And I think it helped me to see that most people do not judge you all the time. Like most people can be like impressed or positively like oh yeah, no, I remember this thing. 95% of the time people just don't think about you, and I mean that in the most positive way I can, because you don't have to be embarrassed by a lot of things. Like if you're I don't know in the street and I don't know I'm thinking of something. You're texting and you drop your phone. Yeah, so what? No one's gonna remember that. Oh no, I have to bend down and pick it up. That's the cringe. Doesn't matter. I think it's very healthy to know that most people just don't really think about you, and if you can positively impress them, but most people aren't just a default negatively impression by you.
I think the other thing is as well, most people, generally speaking, don't want to see someone fail. They want to see someone succeed.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd hope so.
Like, if you make a joke that doesn't land, it's just going to sort of almost like bounce off them, whereas they're rooting for your joke to work. So when it does, that's what they'll remember versus all the times where it didn't.
Yeah, I think you have to make very, like a lot of bad, distasteful jokes in a row to get people to like be like, yeah, no, please just leave. It can be done, but if you're not trying, it should be. If that's not your goal, you should be fine. Get out there, do jokes, dear. I was just about to say, dear reader, dear viewer, no, dear listener.
Technically, this can be viewed. There's like a waveform video version.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, I was planning on making funny noises to see the waveform go up and down.
Go for it. This is your chance. This is your chance.
Later, at a random point in time, later I will do that. This is for what's it called? This is for audience retention. Now you have a guaranteed extra 5 minutes of watch time.
Nice.
Everyone right now is like, when's she gonna do the funny noise? You'll just have to see.
On the note of like I said, I remember you one day telling me, oh, I'm doing improv now, and I was genuinely just sort of caught off guard in the best way. Like, oh, that's really cool that you can just sort of like, you have the confidence or the ability to just go and do that. But then, is there a creative field that you've not done yet that you would love to explore?
Movies. I think the main thing is actually I am for university. I've recently written like a script for a short film, and since we are students, I will star in it.
Yes, naturally.
And just writing a script and like thinking about it and going like, yeah, I can see how this works. I think I really want to like make short films of some sort. Like, I don't know if it'll be like sketches or if it will be like comedic or serious or video essays or something. But I really like the concept of just having some story to tell that can be told visually, because I think I tell stories through music, and I am fine if I am the only person understanding it that way. if everyone else is listening to my music and just goes, oh yeah, that's neat, that's fine. But I've always tried to have some storytelling element overarching in like be it an album or in general. But that is, and this may come as a shock, very limiting, because you can't really show stuff in a song. And just sitting down and like writing out, and then in this scene, I would like to show this desk, and there should be a paper that has a sticky note that says urgent, and just dreaming up this world that where you make the rules, and you can say, yeah, this paper is important. How can I show the viewer that this piece of paper is important without having someone come in, pick it up and say, wow, this paper is very important? Like, it's a lot easier to use visual subtext than like audio subtext is what I think I'm trying to say. And yeah, movies. I think movies and 3D like animation. I've done a bit of that, like, but the extent is like modeling very basic things and then like animating a camera shaking. That's the extent to which I've done 3D animation. That's also something I really like and really want to expand.
I mean, the current Blender to amateur filmmaker to actual filmmaker pipeline, it's never been better. So
people have done it twice in the past 2 months. Yeah.
Speaking of creative outlets, when we first met, we met on Newgrounds. You know, how people used to do it back in the day, the right way. And it is a site that you've continued to very sort of adamantly support. You still upload everything to Newgrounds, where you wouldn't say, I mean, like, I know Spotify's kind of a whole thing.
Yeah.
Hi, Spotify listeners, by the way. Love you.
We can leave it at that.
But yeah, you've continuously supported Newgrounds. It's very evidently important to you. And I'm not as experienced with it. I pretty much only use that site to find you. That which sounds more romantic than it is. I was just looking for music, and you were like the first one that I listened to that was like, oh, this is cool. But what is it about Newgrounds that just sort of found that special place in your heart compared to other sites and platforms?
First of all, my heart just broke. And second of all, I think you said it's not that romantic. You can't take that back.
Oh no! I'm sorry. It's no longer the hot and sweaty episode.
It's just sweaty now. But no, to actually answer the question, I think in the beginning, when I started, when I like created my Newgrounds account and like uploaded my first few songs there, I'm gonna be very honest, it was because the hit mobile and later Steam game Geometry Dash allowed custom songs from Newgrounds. That was the full reason I made a Newgrounds account. Because back then, like nowadays, the game uses like a whitelist. You can't just create an account, upload music, and use it in game. Like copyright protection has gotten a lot better over the years and stuff like that. But back then, it was just like, yeah, just upload it to Newgrounds, copy the link, and you can use music in the game. And I was like, holy crap, that's incredible. I can make terrible beats, which is not self-deprecating because they were back then, and I can just use them in the game. That's wild. And yeah, that's how I got started on Newgrounds. But that very quickly, I think that alone would not be a good reason to stay on Newgrounds, and definitely not to become a supporter and give them money. And I think the main reason I do that is because Newgrounds, for me at least, feels like a community in a sense. Like, what I mean by that is, if you, for example, take YouTube as another example, you have creators, and you have usually when you say this is a well-known like creator, it means they have millions of subscribers and they have like billions of views. And on Newgrounds, when you say, yeah, this is a very like well-known person, they have like 300, 400 followers. Like there are accounts that have like more. There are accounts that have like 1,000 or 10,000, but those are like accounts of like they also have like 1 million YouTube subscribers.
Yeah.
Like those exist, of course, but like on Newgrounds itself, like when you say, wow, look at this, this person just favorited your piece of art, They are well known. Everyone knows them. They're massive. And then you go to their profile and like they have beautiful music and it says like followers 320. It feels very. It feels like a community. It's Newgrounds is the only website where I am followed by the administrator and creator of the website.
Oh.
To Flex, but Newgrounds has a lot of like contests or like any art, like any style of media you can think of. There are like music contests, but there are also like animation contests or short film contests, writing contests. There's everything, and most of them aren't like run by the site. They're run by community members, but they are endorsed by the site, and you can just write a message to the administrator, Tom Folk. I don't know how to pronounce the name. If I mispronounce that, I am very sorry. Tom, you can just write a message to Tom saying, "Hey, I want to run a Christmas themed art contest," and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, that sounds fun. I'll give you a spot on the front page. You can advertise it." Like it feels like a small town where basically everyone knows each other and everyone is just like offering their art, whatever kind of art that may be, whatever like medium you are proficient in or like to work in, and people just come in and go, "Oh yeah, that's neat, that's nice, thanks for sharing," and that's it. And sometimes you make friends, and sometimes you just get into a really deep conversation with someone who knows way more about a specific topic than you do, and you learn something from them. And sometimes you find someone who's like, "Wow, I really like what you're doing, let's like collaborate on something," and then you do that. It feels like actual people communicating with each other, and I don't really get that feeling from any other platform where I put content out. Like on Spotify, for example, I put my music there, but I don't get any feedback about like who listens or what they think of it. Same on SoundCloud or Bandcamp or anywhere. I think on Bandcamp I got like I get a few comments, but they usually say something like, "Wow, this is nice," which yeah, I appreciate the positive like feedback, but like on Newgrounds, it's a lot more and constructive as well. Like for some reason, it feels a lot more genuine to get the same words on Newgrounds than on other platforms, for me at least. Also, I got to judge in a few contests at this point, which also feels like people like obviously value your insight and what you have to say on stuff, which is it's just nice. It's a nice community. What can I say?
Wow. So I've just realized we have actually hit the 40-minute mark.
Oh,
did not even get through I think I got through half of my questions. So I'll definitely drag you back. But I have a very important question to end on.
Of course.
So the internet is heading to a very scary place right now, but there are still some things that are, like there's some lights in the dark. And my question was going to be, who are some of the people and what are some of the projects truly giving you hope right now? But instead, I'm going to ask, have you solved the Riemann hypothesis yet? He did it, guys. He did the thing. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. And before we wrap it up, where can people find you?
Well, I think the easiest answer I can give is to go to the website initialposition.net, which has links to all my other stuff. But if you just want a name, it's RedCocoa. It's basically that everywhere at this point. Sometimes it's Cocoa Red, but like that's just when RedCocoa was taken. Yeah, just take the words Cocoa, Red, put them in a random order and see if you find something.
And to add on to that, if you have watched or seen any of the previous or indeed any of the future episodes, you'll also find a link to Felix's website because Felix does the music for this podcast.
I thought that sounded familiar, yeah.
Felix, I feel really bad. I actually made the first episode of the podcast like with your music, and I was like, I know. Oh shit, I should probably.
It was really funny. You sent me the link, like, hey, I made the first episode, and I started, and like, oh yeah, that's Ryan did it again.
I'm such a bad friend.
He started with stealing my music, and he has never stopped.
Yeah, our friendship is built on consensual theft.
Yep.
The hot
No
and
further
sweaty
comments.
episode, everyone. But yeah, no, thank you so much. This has been an absolute pleasure. And enjoy the song that Felix made remixing me saying fuck about 9 years ago. Bye.
Is that actually in the episode?
That's the outro song for all of them.
Wait, was it?
Yeah.
I only watched 20 seconds. No, I didn't.
Thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode of The Nerd Hall. Don't forget to subscribe to or follow the podcast on your platform of choice if you enjoyed, and keep an eye out next week for a new episode. Do you want to quickly say a bye I can insert, or should we just end it with the... Wait, is that the music? And then cut.
Bye.